Hello, and welcome to episode 158 of Checkpoint Chat. Is that right? 158? Okay, cool. 158 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined, as always, by Matthew Figuera.
If it isn't 158, there's no going back now. It's a duplicate.
Whoa. It is what
know.
it is. It's you know why? It's because I'm using Adobe Audition to record now, and it doesn't require me to make the folder beforehand. So I don't have like a reference to look at anymore, like I used to. I only realize this every time as soon as I've started recording.
Oh no! But because can you save before? I presume you can.
Yeah. So the file is saved, but I haven't created like a project yet. So
hectic. Yeah,
158.
158. Cool.
That's what it is. That's what it is now. If
it is what it is.
If it's not that, then yeah. What's up? How you doing?
It's raining.
How has the week? Yes, it is.
This is
looks quite apocalyptic.
Strange turn of events. Yeah, I mean, the first rains in Joburg usually only appear in, I'd say, like mid-September. You know, maybe end of September. You get your first proper hard rains where it settles all the dust in Joburg, gets rid of my hay fever. But weirdly enough, we've had, I'd say, 3 or 4 very short spurts of drizzles this week.
It's always been at night. Yeah, like these, and like you said, it is real short. It's like not even 5 minutes really.
It's like some rain.
It's a cough. Yeah, it's a real, not enough to get rid of all the dust.
No,
obviously.
Unfortunately, I wish it would just like pour.
But it is going to start kicking up that good pollen to trigger other allergies. So
I know
that's
my favorite time of the year. I hate it
Sniffle Central.
And let me tell you, I went to the office yesterday. Wearing a mask while being allergic.
Not a great time.
Cannot recommend that. I'm not coming back for another month. I refuse.
Are you saying you can't breathe in masks, Matthew?
I can't. I just have to take them off. No, it's more a thing of when it's this time of the year, I spend a lot of time getting up and going to blow my nose. But the fact that I have a mask on now, it's like I don't really want to sneeze in my mask. Nobody really wants to sneeze in their mask. So it's this debate of like, oh God, can I keep it in? No, I'm gonna get up.
It's like that. It's like when you get that surprise sneeze and you end up sneezing into your hands, and then you don't want to pull your hands away because you're like,
yeah,
oh God, what have I done?
Sis, how did this happen?
But then the mask is constantly on your face. It's just like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
And then you just got to sit there and accept life.
Yeah. But on the corona topic, we've both received our first jabs, which is cool. Although I know
Pfizer gang.
We touched on that last week, but now you've actually got your second jab. I liked your tweet. You're like,
first
I got, yeah, you got, I know, but we've both had one.
Yes.
But you like, I got my first dose of Pfizer juice, and it always makes you think of that Mark Zuckerberg meme.
Which one is that?
There's I think it is like it's a whole series of images that came out of like a Facebook court case or something where he looks like an android. He just doesn't look well.
That one, yes.
And then there's a meme where he's drinking a glass of water or something with ice cubes, and then the caption is like, yes, ice juice.
He does look quite sickly there. He looks like almost like, I don't know, like he's got scurvy or something. It's like he's yellow. His skin is real
he really
yellow.
looks robotic. So the whole like, yes, thank you humans for this ice juice is just hilarious. Juice. So you're calling it Pfizer juice, man. Yeah.
It was like you said, had a dead arm. At first I was like, oh, okay, I should probably put this tea down. I was about to have a sip, and then I started like monologuing here.
Well,
yes, leaf juice.
Nice.
Afterwards, like an hour or two afterwards, I was like, oh, this isn't, it's not too bad. Whatever. I'm not feeling a dead arm.
Yeah.
It felt a bit like bruised, whatever. It was the day after. I was like, got it.
God,
yeah. Because we went to the shops the day after, and I lifted my arm to point at something. I was like, oh, fuck no. Hello. No.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
But the actual like injection, like I was expecting the liquid to be thick and whatever. Nah, man.
It's like if you've donated blood before, it's like You don't even feel
magnitudes easier. Yeah, the needle's thin, the liquid. Like I've had vitamin B shots fairly often, and that is a 10 times worse injection to have, because that is
get that in the bum.
liquid's real thick. Oh, you feel your veins expanding as that liquid's going through you. It's not great. Yeah,
it's a good time.
So yeah, it's a good. It's vaccinations, they are great. I've heard the second. Well, my parents got their second dose, and funny enough, on the same weekend. And my dad was fine, but my mom had some pretty hectic. Well, not hectic, but like fever for 2 days. So she was in bed for 2 days, but then she was fine.
Yeah. The only real possible side effects I had is that the day after, I had a wave of nausea, like just out of nowhere.
Is it?
But it was literally an hour long. I had it and I was like, oh God, what is this? And then it just went away. I was like, oh, okay. That was weird.
I have seen some people say, I think it was Candy Rocks on Twitter, saying that she also had some nausea after the jab. So glad I didn't get that. Yeah. After the Pfizer juice.
Second
it was quite interesting. I went to Discovery to get mine, and they had a really interesting system where it was like a series of different lines, but because they kept you moving from one waiting point to the next, it felt like you were always moving, even though technically I was in like one big ass line.
Okay.
So it was like a cool mind game. It's like, walk here. Okay, you're waiting here for 2 minutes. Okay, now you're going to this station. Wait for 2 minutes. Now you're going. So they basically made like a maze around the fucking first floor of that building, just to kind of keep you entertained. I don't know, with children.
Amazing.
But it worked. So yeah.
Well, on that, have you ever been to a massive resort like, I'm not talking Gold Reef City or Ratanga Junction. I'm talking a Disneyland or any place like that in your life?
I haven't, unfortunately. I do want to go to Disneyland.
Yes, I've been very fortunate. I did a trip to the States with my sister in 2015. And we went.
Oh, did you go to Disneyland then?
Yeah, we went.
What?
We got a day pass, and like obviously we wouldn't have to queue long because we were like, it was off peak, not too many queues, whatever. But the way the queues work there, it's actually wild. How long is like, you've played Snake on your phone. It's literally that, but in real life, where they just make there are these huge areas for people to, which I imagine when the park's full, they utilize fully. But it is this thing of like, you're snaking around corners and stuff. So I'm like, God, I'm glad I was not here during that time, because that looks awful.
I mean, my closest reference for that is, like you said, Ratanga Junction. And even that's like, it's probably nothing. It's like a drop in the ocean compared to like a Disneyland. Fuck, I'd love to. I wouldn't want to be there peak time. What was it cool though? Like, what sort of cool rides did you do?
We did. So what I will say, we didn't spend too much time on rides so much as just walking around the place. I think if you ever go to a Disneyland, you sort of need a plan of action where it's like, we're going to hit these rides. We know the layouts of the park very well.
Which one did you go to? Because there's two in America, aren't
so
there?
We went to the one in Orlando.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, which I'm not sure if that's the OG or if it's just a Disneyland.
I don't know. That's got Star Wars shit there now, so I'm keen to go.
But the rides. Oh, so what I was getting at is that it's a sort of thing where you need to do a return trip, because then like, oh, this ride's there. This is the layout of the park. We were just walking around amazed at the sheer size of the place, because Disneyland isn't one big park. It's like made up of different sections focused on different things. So you can't hit all the entire thing in one day. Like I would say if you wanted to really do it properly, like either drop a buttload of cash and go spend a week there, or win a competition where they put you up there for a few days or something.
Be rich or win a competition.
Oh yeah, because like, I mean, Disneyland's not a cheap thing. I mean, what is it to get into Gold Reef City these days? Like 100, 200 rand, maybe more. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd say around there probably.
Whereas Disneyland, I mean, I'm thumb sucking now, but it was along the lines of a day pass is something like $100, let's call it. It's not a cheap thing to do. So yeah. But the rides we did go on were very, very cool. Like I distinctly remember, I think it was a a Transformers ride. That's what it was.
Ooh, that's
where
cool.
I think the whole, and all those rides, it's quite cool because it kind of fits into the cinematic universe of whatever that's based on. So the Transformers one is basically like, oh, we're climbing to Bumblebee, we're trying to escape the Decepticons, whatever. So you basically made to feel like you're in a car. And I don't know if this thing was stationary and just moving, because we were just in a big dark room and just like screens surrounding us.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't actually know if the car was like moving along,
almost like a 4D cinema.
Yeah, but it really simulated this feeling of like you're driving now, you're skidding around corners. Oh shit, you're feeling the flame of a rocket flying past you, and like we had these glasses on, so it was a full on like 3D experience. It was very very cool.
I've seen so many videos of the Star Wars stuff there now, and
that's the sort of thing where I'd love to go one day, but I know that the current, COVID aside, the hype over the new Star Wars stuff, like there'll be queues at that place for ever. So
I mean, if I ever do an E3 again, Orlando's not super far from Los Angeles. Well, there is a Disneyland in Los Angeles, I think in Anaheim.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I would love to go there and do some of the Star Wars shit there.
It's a good time.
I was planning to last year. Like I'd looked at bookings and whatever last year, and then COVID happened, and then E3 never happened. So yeah, they have a new Star Wars hotel that's I think opening next year at Disneyland. It costs a lot,
I'm sure.
It's $4,000 a night.
Oh, and what's a scary
thing? Mental
is that they'll get away with it.
That's mental.
It's mental, but I'd put money that they're fully booked like year round, just about.
I want to be woken up with blue milk in bed for that price.
I want Mark Hamill to hand me blue milk.
Yes, I want to bathe in blue milk.
And when I go down to the bar, I want to hear that tune from an actual band. Exactly.
I mean that, and I don't want it off a speaker. I want there to be a fucking alien band there playing that. Like not someone in a costume. They better be real extraterrestrials playing that fucking.
They just loop that song forever. Doesn't matter.
I want like a proper lightsaber fight, like to the death for that price.
I want to go to the bar and have some alien accost me, and then I want Obi-Wan himself to appear and cut its hand off. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Then I'll go, damn, that is $4,000 well spent.
Cool. Oh yeah, well spent. Like I have my own Obi-Wan Kenobi bodyguard. He's just like, man, this is just a shitty job. I keep cutting this dude's arm off every day. Like, hardcore,
it's a shitty job, but it's kind of satisfying.
Someone's got to do it,
Yeah.
I want a real Jabba the Hutt to like slug his way around the lobby.
Han Solo. My God.
Yeah, I mean, for that price, that's a fuckload of money. Like, think about it. That's like 60 grand.
Yeah. For one night.
A night. That off peak.
If you ever go with kids, you're like, Timmy, you take this all in. You must remember this.
Instead of going to college, you getting 2 nights here.
This. You must remember it till the day you die.
That actually is like, that's comparable. Like, one night there is the same as
like a full education.
My whole semester.
Yeah.
1 semester at university. That is fuck. Okay, that puts it into perspective. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's some real luxury.
Imagine the PC you could buy with that money.
You could buy a PC and watch all the Star Wars and play all the Star Wars games.
You could buy 2 of those like fucking huge Samsung like widescreen ones, so you could put one in front of you and one behind you and create your own Star Wars experience. Like,
my goodness, you really could.
I wonder if that would work actually. If games would, if you bought 2 of them, like I've seen ridiculous setup actually. Linus from Linus Tech Tips, his office in the at their offices, like his office was 2 of those monitors stacked on top of each other. I'm like, why? But
good
okay.
Lord.
But I wonder if you could put one in front of you and one behind you and then tell the game like my field of view is literally my FOV is 360 and for it to like do that.
Actually do that.
I don't know if that would work. I imagine not. I don't think many games are programmed to like I mean, widescreen support is still like not even that popular. So
yeah,
Yeah. That'd be
Who
fucking
knows?
cool
Who
though.
knows? It would
Like
be
if I'm
really
playing
cool.
Doom and I'm just like, oh my god, it's all around me.
You would break your poor neck trying to
Jesus Christ.
keep up with all the shit going on in Doom. My goodness.
I would love one of those monitors, but yeah, they are like
$1 million.
40,000 rand locally. So yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a lot of money.
So did you take the Star Wars experience with the monitors? Definitely the
Yo,
monitors.
Yeah, I think the monitors. Like you said, I could watch fucking Star Wars on there. I could watch
Exactly.
3 Star Wars films at once on there. Put the whole original trilogy running
watch
all at
every
once.
trilogy simultaneously.
Bet no one's done that before.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Maybe some madmen somewhere has done that.
Mad lads.
Let's check one chat. Talk about video games, Disneyland, and Mad Lads.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. We've actually got a couple of games to talk about. Some new, some old.
Sure, a lovely mix.
A couple of them with time loops.
Yeah, let's start with the non-time loop stuff.
The non-time loop stuff. So, well, I guess you could argue that there's a time loop here. But
wow.
I've been playing some Ghost of Tsushima director's cut.
Oh boy.
Mostly just the expansion, the Iki Island expansion.
Let me tell you, I've got gameplay here. Not my gameplay, so just pulling this off YouTube for visual reference for those of you who
I do
are
like that
watching
he's
on
wearing
YouTube.
the ghost armor. Real good. Real
good time.
I'm wearing that ghost armor, but the really balling red and green version that you get at the end of the game.
I think I'm just wearing the default like traveler's cape or whatever the hell it is.
How dare you?
It's so I love it.
Gross.
It looks so good.
Gross.
Gross.
Yeah, so Iki Island is an expansion. They say that it's around the same size as the first act of the game, and I can say from the landmass that I'm exploring, that kind of tracks. Like it's quite a big landmass to explore. It's suggested you do this after you've finished the game because Jin makes references to beating the Mongols on Tsushima and stuff like that. So yeah, I would imagine you should do it then.
That'd be amazing though if you do come into Ghost of Tsushima director's cut and you just happen to stray down this path and Jin's like, wow, I defeated the Mongols. Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Khan is still alive, man.
I get the time loop stuff now. You're like, hang on. He's done this already.
So yeah, I mean, that's part of it, but also I feel like the enemies are definitely challenging me in a way where it is an advancement of the challenges I had at the end of the game. Because I played the game on lethal difficulty, which was very, very challenging at first, but as I started getting upgrades, it became not easy, but a lot more manageable. And now I feel like some of the enemy types that are introduced here are challenging me again. You've got like a red border around your video.
Oh, that's so funny. Hang on. I was just flipping it so it looks like I'm looking at you.
Oh, okay. So, like you can see in the gameplay, there's this shaman that will like empower enemies, which makes breaking their guard a lot harder. I think they're also like very, very aggressive. And then there's this enemy, like I can't actually recall if this was in the original game or not. But there's an enemy that changes stance just like you. So he'll have a spear.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the original game.
Yeah, he has a spear, then he changes to a shield, then he changes to a sword. So you have to like change your stances in tune with them. Which, you know, when you've stayed away from the game for a long time is really challenging. You can see these enemies are fucking aggressive. They come at you
super
really,
fast.
really easily. Yeah. So...
Yeah. But you played Ghost of Tsushima not that long ago. Like, how many months ago? It was this year.
It was probably beginning of this year. Yeah. I played it when it got its PS5 patch. To just unlock the frame rates. I was like, sweet, I'm gonna play this now finally.
Okay, now imagine coming in. So I played the game when it came out in June last year. I think it was June, July. June.
Was it last year? Wasn't it the year before?
No, it was last year. This game's only a year old, weirdly enough.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What is time?
So coming into this, and lethal difficulty did not exist when I played the game. So I'm like, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna ramp this up to lethal difficulty, and yeah, I got I got beat real hard because I couldn't remember the buttons. I couldn't remember how to change stances. I can't remember. Well, I know now, but I couldn't remember what each stance is effective against. So, yeah.
How satisfying is it though? Because lethal difficulty doesn't mean that Jin just dies quickly. It means that enemies die quickly as well. Yeah, it's meant to mimic a like actual sword fight where if you take 1 or 2 hits, you will die.
If you take a sword to the gut, you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead. So it's really satisfying because as soon as you break an enemy's guard, you usually just instantly kill them.
Yeah.
And I find it super satisfying in the same way that if you take 2 hits, you're almost dead.
Yeah. It just makes every encounter feel almost, I mean, like, without trying to state the obvious, but stating the obvious, it makes it feel more real. But it just like makes
everyone can kill you type of thing.
And it makes every encounter more tense as well because it's like, oh god, so for example, you're fighting a group of 6 people to think of, oh god, like I've managed to down all of them. I've got this one dude left. Like I can't let my guard down. I've got to really keep concentration.
It's a real bastard at the beginning of the game because you don't have the ability to get up after being knocked down.
Oh, yeah.
So the first few hours are a lot of you getting knocked down and waiting for a Mongol to come and finish you off until you get the ability to like quote unquote revive yourself. I think it's like the best way to play the game, but I understand that it is, it
can be frustrating,
more challenging. But like when you get into that rhythm, holy shit, it feels good. The flow is just so
I will say if playing on the PS5 in itself is really praise be, because I was dying a lot, but you instantly back in the action. It's like, oh god, I died. I'm back in.
Crazy fast.
Oh
my god,
it's so good. Yeah. So if you're playing on the PS4 on lethal difficulty, that's you're asking for not that the load times are bad by any means on the PS4. It's
but they are like
compared to PS5. It's and fast traveling on PS5 is just it still blows my mind. It's like instant. It's the best.
And on top of that, you got the increased frame rate, which makes the combat a lot more fluid. I find it really lends itself to this game. It's just like beautiful. Everything like. All the animations in the vegetation and the trees, they just look a lot better at that increased frame rate.
It's a visually stunning game by default. So having it buttery smooth is just... Yeah, I mean...
Iki Island as well is just like full of beautiful vistas. Like I've just been enjoying the variety that's there. Really
and
stunning.
I came from the PS4, so I'm used to the 30 frame per second rate, and it's what a stunning game to play on the PS5. So yeah, I've also only played a lot less than you. I've played literally the opening 30 minutes of the DLC, I'd say, maybe 45 minutes. So yeah, I haven't even got to Iki Island. So I'll get there.
Yeah, because you start on Tsushima, yeah. It's good so far. I'm kind of shocked at how much character work is being done in this expansion because it almost feels like essential to Jin's story. It's very much him confronting the past of him and his father. So if you know from the main game, his father obviously died before the game started. And Jin was there when his father died. Like he watched his father die and feels a lot of regret for not helping him. And that was like one sort of like microcosm of the story. You never learned much more about his father or about his relationship with his father.
Yeah.
And here you learn a lot more. You're learning about the history of Iki Island, which is an island that the samurai basically went to and like quelled a rebellion there. So they do not like samurai there. They specifically don't like Jin's family, so he hides his identity.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that will come and bite him fairly later in the story. But you get these flashbacks which are afforded by the new villain as leader of this eagle Mongol tribe who's like poisoned you, so you keep having these like really fucked up flashbacks. Yeah, and those are really good. Like it colors in a lot of Jin and his relationship with his father, and the like question of like, were the samurai actually as honorable and good as
they made out to be?
They were made out to be, yeah. So I'm enjoying that aspect of it. It's really good from a story perspective. I think it's essential if you enjoyed the original story. But
Yeah.
the activities around them are fairly similar. It's
Similar,
like,
yeah.
still camps to liberate. You're still fighting enemies here and there, and the story structure is fairly similar. There's some side quests that are a bit different. There's a new archery challenge, which is actually quite challenging. I think it's really good. And then there are these monkey and cat sanctuaries where you can play a flute
Ooh.
to get them to come to you. It's like, it's weird. You have this like track coming at you, and you've got this like glowing ball, and you tilt your controller up and down to keep
I've
it in
seen
the
that,
track.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool. You can feel the cats purring through the DualSense, which is a very neat feature, I think. So
I love it.
game's good. I like it. We gave some criticism to the price for the upgrade.
Yeah.
I still think that it should have been free if you just wanted the upgrade. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The upgrade itself should have been.
Yeah.
I think
the
it's
director's
very
cut
cheeky.
content is $30, and I mean it seems pretty expansive. So I'm pretty happy paying that. I don't think that's a bother. Like, it's a lot of new content and a lot of cool new combat twists, which I like. Like being able to charge my horse into enemies. That's a real fun thing to do. Yeah, real nay.
Cool. I'm sure we'll have more to say on this next week when we've both actually put more time into it. So you happy to move on? Anything else?
Yeah. Let's
which time
talk about a game we didn't really like, either of us.
Oh God.
12 minutes.
Talk about 12 minutes in 12 minutes, I say.
Jesus Christ. Listen, we were both very excited for this game. Like, I recall us both like being hyped at the trailers, like really eager to give this a go. And it was around this time last week, the reviews had come out, and there were some really good ones. Like, this is what confuses me most about the game, is that critically it got like really great reviews.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't long after that people on Twitter started being like, wow, this game goes places. And then it quickly switched to the like conversation, at least in the circles I follow on Twitter, was like, why is this game getting such good reviews? It's really bad. Like, and I was like, okay, now I have to check this out.
Get your own. Formulate your own opinion.
And I fall into the camp there where I really hate this game.
So let's just be upfront and say that I think at the start of this discussion, we won't have spoilers. We'll obviously just give an overview of the game, how it works. But I think we probably won't talk about this game again. So I do want to talk about spoiler-related stuff.
I feel like I have to talk about the twist, because the 100%. Twist is really the fucking icing on the cake on what the fuck is this.
Yeah.
So 12 minutes is contrary to what the title suggests, is not a 12-minute time loop game.
No,
it's actually
which
more
is
like
so weird.
5 minutes. Yeah.
No,
it's more like
I think it's a 10-minute loop. It's 8 to 10 minutes.
Is it 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not 12 though.
No, it's not 12.
I look at that clock, I'm like, they're large.
Everything happens within 12 minutes, but not 12 real world minutes. Yeah, no. It's weird. So essentially it's a top-down adventure game. I didn't realize it was going to be like classic point-and-click adventure, which is
you literally
part of the problem. Yeah, it's part of the problem I have with it. The puzzles are very old school point-and-click, wherein they are sometimes way too obtuse for their nonsense. Yeah, it doesn't feel smart. It feels mundane and stupid. So yeah, essentially you are this guy in this apartment, and you and your wife are preparing for like a nice dinner. She's got like a surprise for you and stuff like that. And like this dude, very Willem Dafoe voiced dude, busts in. He's like, I'm a cop. He handcuffs you both to the floor and then proceeds to murder both of you, and your day restarts, and the character is well aware of the time loop and is trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And yeah, that's essentially where the game progresses from there. You gather evidence to try and convince your wife that you are in a time loop so that she will like help you try and figure out what's going on, which is a whole thing into itself. You're trying to figure out why this guy is just like breaking in and murdering you both. stuff like that. So that premise alone sounds awesome.
It's a great setup. I mean, sorry to jump in, but like time loop games in general, you spoke about the Forgotten City like last week already, and that is a thing of there's something very satisfying about solving puzzles using knowledge you've discovered previously. So like on paper, it sounds really cool. Like, why is this cop keep bashing down the door? Like, there's why does he want to murder my wife, and why do I keep dying every time?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just the way it plays out, it's like. So you said you finish a game in what, like 3.5 hours? I think you said. I
looked up 1 or 2 solutions though, because I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah,
anymore.
my playtime was closer to 5.5 hours, which just speaks volumes of how. I mean, it's not a thing of I'm dumb, I can't play this game. It's just a thing of some of the solutions are just so obscure where it could take you a second or it could take you an hour to like, oh God, like this is what I need to do in this loop to, get this piece of information to proceed further into the game. Well, I will say, look, at the beginning when you start the game, like it's very intriguing because, you're trying to figure out what do you do in this apartment. So just for context sake, the game takes place in your apartment, which is literally a living room, a bedroom, and a bathroom. Like
it's a very small,
it's a very
space,
tiny apartment. But there are items littered throughout the apartment, which can or cannot affect how the loop plays out. So, for example, you could walk in and you could, pour your wife a glass of water instead of her getting a glass of water for herself, and then the loop plays out a little bit differently. You could get the surprise out of the fridge for you, or just let her dish it to you herself, which makes the loop play out slightly differently. So when you come in not knowing anything, it's very interesting because you want to try as many variations as you can. It's like, oh, cool. What if I restart the loop and I do this differently? How will it play out? But what you're very quickly
you did the exact same thing as me on your first playthrough. You're
I don't know why.
I gotta try
this. On the first
playthrough,
I was like, oh, the lights, cool.
I was just watching you do that. I'm like, I did exactly the same thing. That's very funny.
But what I found the biggest frustrations I had, and I think a lot of people had, it's that when you get stuck trying to figure out, okay, I've got enough of like basic knowledge. I know I need to convince my wife I'm in a time loop. I've got to tell her that there's a cop at the door. Oh God, how do I proceed the story? Like, what piece of evidence do I need to, get further? And that in itself is where the game becomes very frustrating because it's a thing of, okay, I put this plate here last time. What if I do this with it now? Oh shit, it plays out more or less the same. Damn it, I've got to restart the loop because I wasted time. What if I do this differently? Oh, it doesn't really make that big a difference. Now I've got to restart the loop. So it's I think that to me was one of the biggest hurdles. And like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people reviewed this game very well. A lot of people reviewed it very badly. There's no like middle ground. And I honestly think it comes down to if you just happen to be a veteran old school adventure game fan and you just know these games very well, maybe the solutions came to you way quicker than they came
easily,
to me. Yeah. And in which case, if you play this, in a 2-hour sitting, maybe even shorter if you're like really smart, like cool, I could understand. Like I don't really like the twist at the end, but I'd imagine it's a very, an engaging experience because you are constantly figuring stuff out as you go. But if you play it like I did over 5.5 hours, then it's like...
Yeah. But even then, like I never felt like I was smart in solving all the problems. It felt like I was just like taking all the items in inventory and just trying them on different things because I had no fucking idea what to do anymore. And on top of that, exactly like you said, like the beginning parts of the game are actually fine because all the things you're discovering are at the beginning of the loop. But then very quickly, it's like, okay, I need to do this every single loop to set this up and then try something. And then once I've set that up, I try something. Oh, it doesn't work. I've got to redo that whole setup again. And it gets really bad at the end because like you are in conversations with all three characters and one wrong thing that you say, you have to restart.
You restart,
like,
yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It becomes like towards the end, it becomes a thing of, so throughout the game, if you talk to your wife, for example, you'll have like 3 different dialogue options. And then within each one, there might be 1 or 2 more. So it becomes a thing of like, I know I need to talk to this person and I need to try convey this information or something. But there's 2 options to choose from. Oh shit, I chose the wrong one. The dude's pissed off with me. He's killed me. I've got to set it up all over again. Like, yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't even make sense. It's like, sometimes the cop is willing to hear you. So I'm like, cool. That means I can talk to him. I click to talk to him. He's like, no, you spoke to me. I'm going to hit you. Restart the loop. I'm like, why? What? It doesn't make sense. And there's some instances where, like, I will preemptively get an item that I know I will need. Like the picture on the fridge, for example. I'm like, cool.
You did exactly what I did. I know
I'm going to need this. Put it into my inventory. Then eventually I get to the point where I know I'm going to need it. And the wife's like, check out the picture on the fridge. And he's like, there's no picture on the fridge. I'm like, I have it here. Here, let me give it to you. I try to give it to him. He's like, don't talk to me. Punches me. Restarts the loop. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I think you and I mean, we spoke back and forth on WhatsApp a lot, which I had a great time being upset with you. Like, the more we spoke about it, the more we realized like this game is very good at like telling you to be creative, but simultaneously very bad at letting you be creative. So that's a good example. It's like, okay, I know I'm going to need this picture on the fridge. Let me take it off, keep it in my inventory because I want to give it to the guy. But then it's like you said, he looks at the fridge, he's like, oh, there's no picture there. And you're like, but I've got it. Can I click you and tell you that I'm dead? Like, even the whole, I mean, and this isn't a spoiler, but you get to a point where you're like, oh God, I know this cop's coming to knock down the door or whatever. So you can tell your wife, you've got the knowledge, like, listen, there's a cop coming. He's going to accuse you of murder. Do not let him in. Okay. So I'm like, I know this knowledge. Let's not let him in. Let's like barricade the door, or let's plan to do something. Like, this guy's coming to kill us. Let's maybe knock him out together or something. The game never lets you do that. It says you can tell your wife, like, don't let him in. And she's like, okay. But then she stands at the door when he's banging on it going like,
what should we do?
I'm like, step away. Like, I've told you.
I did this one loop where she was doing that, and so I was just like, fuck this, I'm just gonna go hide. So I went into the bathroom and I locked the door and I went into the shower, and she fucking ratted me out.
Really?
I couldn't believe it. He was like, is there anyone else here? And she's like, yes, my husband's in the bathroom. I was like, what the fuck?
What the shit?
Like,
I did not know you could lock the bathroom door. It's hilarious.
Yeah. He just breaks it down and comes and finds you anyway and just drags you out of there.
But even on that, so I mean, look, I know when you're planning a game like this, I can only imagine the not admin nightmare, but the narrative nightmare of trying to think up every possible scenario. But it's some of the stuff to me seems very obvious, but it doesn't. It serves no purpose. Like, there are items in this game which are there. I'm like, did you intentionally put that there for me to just do nothing with?
I think those are like intentional red herrings almost.
Yeah, but it's like you can interact with the loo. I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, in a loop, I'm going to use this knife and I'm going to kill this guy and I'm going to hide the knife in the loo because another cop or neighbor's going to come. And I'm like, this is me overthinking the game. This is early days thinking, this is the extent that the narrative's been thought out. And it's like, no, the loo's literally just there. It serves no purpose other than
the number of things I tried to flush down that thing. And it just did nothing. Like,
it really
tried to flush a
upset
dessert
me.
down there. Nothing.
So, yeah, it's a very difficult game to recommend.
It's a very frustrating game to play.
It's like I can appreciate it. Look, to be clear, like, I can appreciate the setup and the narrative. I think it's very clever on paper. Like, this, there's this mystery to solve. It's a very clever way to convey this mystery story of like, how do you figure out why this dude's knocking at your door every day or whatever. But just the actual mundaneness of it, like, really, really kills this game for me. Like,
it's an ambitious setup. Yeah. But so that's just like the gameplay. Now, the story.
Story is quite something. So if you do plan on playing this game and you don't want to know anymore, look away because I'm pretty sure we're gonna spoil some things.
We'll put the time codes in the description. I'm seeing here it's like 41 minutes, I think, or 40 minutes.
It's 40 minutes, let's say.
Okay, you can keep track of the time code there. The thing that frustrates me the most actually about this game is genuinely the story, because it starts off fairly intriguing and noir, almost like why is this happening, whatever, and it devolves into some really uncomfortable and really fucking ridiculous tropes, like absolutely ridiculous. So you find out fairly quickly that your wife lied about the death of her father and that she killed him, so to speak. And you're like, okay, that's the big twist. Then it's like, no. Actually, she didn't kill him. Someone else did, because he was still alive after this point where she had already moved to the city and met you. You're like, okay, cool. So then the story flips to like this whole, we need to figure out who actually killed the father so that this dude who's coming to exact revenge for the father and also steal a watch to pay for his daughter's chemotherapy or something, I don't fucking know, doesn't like immediately kill you. And then you start figuring out that like her father had an affair and there was another child and it's probably this other child that killed him. And you're like, okay, well, this is now like expanding well beyond like the confines of this apartment. Like, how the fuck are you meant to
figure this out? Anything? Yeah.
The real twist is that firstly, you are the one who killed her father. You are also her brother, and that,
or half brother, but still,
in a way, is like, okay,
yeah.
And then it becomes worse in that your character knew this. Well, he was well aware before getting into a relationship with your wife, half sister, that they were related in that way, and the whole reason you killed the father is because he wanted to stop it, and you're just like. Excuse
You're
me?
literally deer looking into the headlights going, what?
You're like, what?
How did I get
somehow,
here?
in between these two instances, you've forgotten this. And then it turns out none of this is real. All of this is in your mind.
Yeah,
a figment of your imagination during a conversation with the father about this whole predicament.
Yeah, so he's like trying to hypnotize you into forgetting that you love your half sister, basically. Which is just, I don't know. Then it becomes, then you start really thinking about what's happening in the apartment. Like, hang on, okay, so this father's coming to treat, that video just stopped. So I have another one. The father's coming to murder me, whatever. But also there's this whole theme of he wants the watch to pay for his daughter's chemotherapy. So now is this just a metaphor for him trying to save his daughter from me? And you start having all these questions, and the more you think about it, the angrier you get. So this is why Alessandra and I, the more we spoke, we were like, but what about this? This means this. Hang on. Look at this article which dives into this explanation. It's like, oh, it's just a lot. It's too much.
It's a lot because like I get it. It wants to be shock value and it wants to be like, I don't know, just shocking, really. Like that's all it's trying to be, because it's not thought-provoking. It's not like, oh damn, he didn't know that. What a devastating blow for this dude who didn't realize this. It's like, no, he knew. He willingly went and fucked up this woman's life. Well, in his imagination. He then like, as part of the gameplay, you have to like consistently drug her. You have to watch her get beaten the fuck up so that you can get information. And then you have to have the really terrible conversation of like, hey, I was totally aware that when we hooked up, we were brother and sister, but I still got with you and impregnated you. It's like, what the fuck are you trying to say with this story? What is going on here? It's just like, it's uncomfortable for uncomfortable's sake. There is no point to it.
It's pure shock value. So if the game played out to the point where you know that, you know, there's a murder that happened, the wife's responsible, but you somehow help figure out like, oh, she actually isn't. The real murderer is, I don't know, you figure out someone else, roll credits. You could have ended the game there and I would have been like, oh, okay, cool. Like very, what a pretty well-rounded game despite its frustrations. But just that twist at the end, because then when you realize that twist and you realize what you've been doing the whole time and how what the premise of the story is, you're like, that is some
up.
weird stuff. Yeah, yeah.
And again, it's not fucked up for like a bigger story purpose. The stories don't have to be comfortable all the time. But this just feels like it's uncomfortable for the sake of it, and it's not making you, the player, feel uncomfortable. It's more like you are watching yourself be horrible to another character over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And are you meant to empathize with this man? The game certainly wants you to by the end of it. And I struggled to. I wanted him to die more than anything else.
Yeah.
It's
a wild ride.
It's a trip. It's a real fucking trip, the story. And yeah, like we said, every time we spoke about it, we messaged each other about it. I just got more and more mad. It was just horrible. There's a great Kotaku article which is like the only thing 12 Minutes hates more than its players are it's a female lead. And it fucking hates her because it puts her through a ringer for no reason. It's I accidentally killed her in one of my loops by accident. I turned on the lamp thing and then she went in there and turned it on and she's not wearing shoes, so she dies. That sucks. But let me tell you, the fucking eye roll, my eyes rolled into fucking orbit when I figured out the twist. When the cop says, oh, her name was something flowery, and I was like, oh my God, the name on the baby clothes is after a flower, and they said it was named after my mother. I took a moment. I was just
what's
like,
funny
oh
is
my
that
God.
so I never made that connection between the baby's name and the, but it did cross my mind, like, what if even just a fleeting thought of like, what would be a wild twist, like, oh, this dude's actually the brother, but that couldn't be what they're doing. Because I mean, that someone killed the father, oh, it's the brother, and I'm like, how funny would it be if it's the brother? Like if I'm the brother, and then it turns out that is the actual twist. Is like, wow.
I couldn't. I just literally eye rolls into orbit. I paused the game and I just sat there for a second and I had like a chuckle to myself because I was like, what the fuck is this game? I walked into the morning after. Shawnee was like, how's the game? And I was like, it was fucking awful. And she was like, why'd you play it? Because I'm like, I just couldn't pull myself away from how awful it was.
You know, it's funny is that Lenska as well was working next to me while I was playing, and she stopped working because I just started the game. And again, like the premise is interesting because then she was playing as well, going like, what if you try to do this? What if you try to do that? Whatever. And then like the next day, I eventually finished it, whatever. And she's like, oh, did you finish a game? And I was like, yeah, I did. And she's like, what happened? And I literally just shook my head. I was like, you don't want to know. Like it's just.
Did you explain the story to her?
No, I never got around to. I will though. I'll tell him like, oh, actually.
I explained it to Shani and she was just like, what the fuck? Like,
I hate it so much. But yeah, it's again interesting premise, but the twist and it's just.
I didn't realize you could do this. The wife like ran into the bathroom and locked herself in there.
Explain this to me. You have the option to like cut yourself free, but you can never do anything when you get up.
No, because as soon as he sees you doing it, he just punches you.
I didn't get my cups off. But I thought, well, the fact that he got into the bathroom, like maybe I can do something now. I was wrong. Dead.
Oh God, it's nonsense. I had such high hopes for this game, and
likewise.
I did not enjoy it. I think it's the first like big miss from Annapurna in terms of a publishing label.
I will say it definitely got people talking.
It did.
That's maybe what they wanted, but I'm like, what are we talking about other than incest and a whole lot of other weird things? Yeah, cool.
12 minutes. It's a time.
It's a time loop.
Now to good time loop games. One that actually came out 2
2
years
years
ago.
ago. Yeah.
Two and a bit years ago. That you just played now. I played back then, and I just replayed it this week to kind of remind myself of the smaller intricacies of it, of the story.
Yep.
Outer Wilds. What a game!
So yeah, just for some quick context on Outer Wilds, they announced a DLC. Where was it?
What's it called? Eye of
the Storm.
Deep,
I don't know.
Isn't? I'll look it up.
Echoes of the Eye. That's what it's called.
Echoes of the Eye.
So that was announced, and I thought, well, Outer Wilds is a 2019 game that I know got a lot of Game of the Year awards, and it's just something I never got around to playing. So that was, and then I went on leave as well. So I was like, well, this is just the best time to really sink my teeth into this game, because you said it's about depending, again, it's a time loop game, depending on how quick you figure things out, like 12 to 15 hour experience. So I was like, it's quite lengthy.
What was your playtime around there?
No, my playtime was about 22 to 23 hours.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. That was just me having a great time, messing around, doing a whole lot of things. But yeah, it's a time loop game. And let me tell you, unlike 12 minutes, this is a really, really good time loop game that rewards you for curiosity and makes you feel like a fucking G when you figure some shit out.
Makes you feel like an absolute genius.
Yeah. So I've got some gameplay here. I will say that the more you watch this game,
we are going to dive into like spoilers because spoilers. we want to talk about this game, but like, if you are in any way intrigued by this game, and you should be, because it is like, it's phenomenal. It's probably one of the best time loop games I've ever played, and just one of the best adventure games I've ever played. You should stop right now. We'll put a time code on, our discussion here, because the less you know about this game, the better it is.
Yeah, it's like going into a movie.
Even knowing it's a time loop game is like
it's like a little mini spoiler. Yeah,
mini spoiler. Yeah. So yeah, stop listening now if you don't want to. But yeah, this game. I think what I love most about this game is that you can finish the game from the beginning, from the very first loop, if you know what to do. There is nothing in this game in the way of like items or skills that you gather. The only thing that you gather throughout is knowledge. Yeah. And that knowledge is always, it's ever present. It's not like you need to discover something for you to be able to take advantage of it in other places. Like, if you know it, you know it. So it's sort of why, like, it's almost impossible to replay this game. Yeah. I thankfully have a Civ brain, so
likewise I'll play it in 2 years too.
Yeah, I forgot, like I knew how to trigger the ending, so I obviously didn't go do that, but I forgot a lot of the writing and conversations here and there, and even some like abilities that you need to know. I had forgotten them.
Not so much abilities as much as just rules or things.
Rules of the world, sort of thing. But like, when I was when I was reminded of them, I remembered things like a lot quicker, and that's probably why my second playthrough was like quite super rapid. Quick. Yeah. But yeah, it's quite funny, because at the end of it, you're like, oh, I see how I could have done this from the start, just from the start, and it's all about like following these breadcrumbs to discovering this new information and picking apart the world and essentially learning about its rules to the point where you eventually have a means to stop. I wouldn't even say stop the time loop, because I don't think that actually happens.
No, it's more just figuring out how to break it, and or I suppose it's not. Yeah. Is it stopping it? It's just like moving the story forward, I guess.
I don't think it's stopping it. I think breaking it is exactly it, because I don't think you actually save the universe. I don't think you save anything. I think what happens is you accept that this is the end of this solar system, this universe, and you are no longer bound to trying to fix it. You have accepted that.
It's a good run. It's time to restart. Hit the reset button on the whole universe.
Yeah, so okay, so this one makes sense if you don't know that this game loops every 22 minutes, and every 22 minutes the sun explodes,
yeah,
and takes the universe with it. Yeah,
but then you wake up next to the campfire going, and you remember what
it's a
happened.
real good
You've
line.
obviously you've retained your knowledge up to this point, and it actually sparked an interesting conversation. So one of the game's mechanics is, your ship is able to keep track of every breadcrumb you found, which
a very handy log.
yeah, which is a very big question mark for me because I'm like, I can remember the stuff. There's a narrative explanation. Why can my ship remember this? So I went and I put a post on Reddit, and people very quickly explained like, your ship is made up of this ancient race. Well, if you've not played the game, there's an ancient race called the Namai who have temples and or scripts and things littered throughout the universe. But your little band of people have leveraged some technology and incorporated into the ship that you use to fly around. So that's why your ship is able to retain memory. But it works out very well because that little mind map you get in your ship is paramount to figuring out like where to go next, what have I learned so far. And I think what's quite interesting about this game is that it doesn't give you anything. It really very much just gives you, the quick setup, like, hey, you're launching into space today. And that's it. It's very, very Breath of the Wild in the sense that there are a few places you can go to, but you can go to them in any order you want. And I think it's just, whenever I stop and think about it, I just imagine this team sitting, in a boardroom with a whiteboard, with a whole lot of red yarn, like busy putting together this wild narrative where it's like, okay, we'll put this breadcrumb on this planet, which will point to this other planet, but we also put a breadcrumb to this other planet. So you could really discover this game in any fashion and order you want, and it makes sense. Like you piece these things together, and it all just starts to come together in a very natural way. Like I never went to a planet because it was, like this is the obvious next step. It is more thing of like, I haven't explored here. I know there's this one log mentioned that this one thing is here. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, I've actually found something else which leads me back to the planet I came from, but I don't have to go there. I can stay here. So every playthrough, I think, I mean, this is definitely one of those games I'm like, I really am genuinely upset that I cannot experience this again for the first time. Like I had my experience, I'll never have that level of wow again from this game.
No, because it is every little piece of information you find is like a real penny drop moment. Like, like it opens up. Like you suddenly think of all the places you've been where you can apply that knowledge, and you're like, oh my god, what if I do that? Like,
and it's not complicated either.
It's not. I think that's the genius of this game is that whenever I speak about it, it almost feels like you have to be like super intelligent to even like comprehend how to play this game. It does a really, really good job of like prodding you in the right directions, like kind of where you need to go. There isn't a linear path, but it's like, hey, you've been here, but there's still stuff to discover here. Like it will keep that in your log. Like you should go back here.
Yeah.
Or like in your log, it will only keep important information and it will highlight words that are important. In conversations, like you'll be reading, but some word will be highlighted in orange and it's like, cool, you should take note of that.
Yeah.
So it is actively trying to get you to the end of the line. It's not like, if you're not smart enough, fuck you, you can't see what we have in store. And yes, there is an element of like, you have to think quite differently about certain things, and you do have to have these like moments where you're like, oh, I get what they're saying.
Yeah.
But their examples of teaching you their mechanics, like their quantum physics, are very, very good.
And it's like, super straightforward. It's just like,
yeah, it is like you immediately know, like from the very beginning when you're in the museum on Timberhearth, you learn about quantum superposition. So these are all like real. They're all theoretical quantum physics, like actual things that people are studying. And it's like something is only in a place if it's observed. It's the whole Schrodinger's cat thing. Like, is the cat alive or dead in the box? You don't know because you aren't observing it at this time. So I think that the the thing that sold me on this game, like almost immediately, it was like 10 minutes into the game, is like going into the museum, and you see those quantum rocks from the quantum moon, they call it, and you see it, and if you turn away and look back at it, it's gone.
It's gone.
And then you turn away, or you turn somewhere else, and it's there. And as long as you're looking at it, it doesn't disappear. But as soon as you stop perceiving it, it moves, because like it can be in an infinite number of places because it's not being perceived. And it's like that's the first big like rule of this world that you learn, and it's done in such an elegant and like you immediately understand what it means. Like if I see it, it's there.
Yeah.
And then it builds off of that like really, really slowly. Like you said, you if you take a photo of it, you can turn away and it will still remain there because it's still technically being observed.
Yeah. But it does that in a way that like, so you just reading, you literally reading like a handful of lines of dialogue per area you get to. Like, I think that's what I appreciate about the game so much. It's not these heavy tomes of, oh shit, this person wrote five pages on their time here. I need to sit and read this, and there's the sentence that's important. I need to take photos of quantum items for them to remain perceivable. It's literally a thing of it could be an exchange between two of them going, oh hey, I figured out that if you take a photo, you can perceive this thing past the fact, even if you're not looking at it. And it's literally a line. I go, oh shit, let me think. Oh, okay, I understand what I need to do with this now. It's just done so simply. It never
and it's done in this cool way. It's like a conversation. It's like,
exactly.
Oh, I figured this out. You might find it interesting. And the person goes, oh, that's it's like these very casual conversations between this previous race.
One of my favorite things is when you are on one of the Ash twins. I can't remember which one it is, but you read an exchange between children. And
that's on the Ember Twin?
I think it's on the Ember Twin. Yeah. And it's this conversation between children who play a game with the
anglerfish,
the skeleton of an anglerfish. And there's one sentence there which shares like, oh yeah, my mom says that they're blind. And you're like, oh shit, like this change, like now I can use this piece of information to go do this other thing. And it's
like, oh my God, the planet where those fish are alive and they keep killing me, now I know they're blind. And it's like, oh, I get it now. Like, I get why they're eating me, because they're blind, but they have good hearing. So every time I move my ship, they are honing in on the sound. It's like,
so
your brain just like explodes.
Yeah, but you get explicit examples like that, right? Where it says, okay, they're blind, and you know immediately like, oh shit, okay, I need to be quiet. But then there are things, so we've mentioned, all the quantum rules. And it's a thing of you learn the rule, but you might not know how to apply it specifically until you have a penny drop moment. And I don't know, this game, I honest to God, don't know if I've ever played a game that's made me like really quite literally gasp out like, aha, or like, holy shit, I've just figured out how to do this. Or I try something and it works. I'm like, oh my God, of course that works. It makes sense.
That works exactly how I thought it would. Yeah.
It's just so good at giving you these little breadcrumbs. And it doesn't, I mean, in some cases, like the anglerfish, it's very explicit, like they're blind, they'll hear you. But in some cases, it's like, here's a rule. Just think about it. And you go, oh shit. And that, when those pieces fall into place, it's just, I haven't played a game quite like this where it gives me that feeling of like, oh my God, like I figured that out all by myself using.
And sometimes it's even lucky. Sometimes you do things and you're like, wait a minute, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And you're like trying to figure out what rule you accidentally stumbled upon. Like the first time I ever got teleported using those black hole like platforms, I was like, because I was just standing there, and next thing it's like whoop, and I'm like, whoa, what
how did that happen? Yeah,
how did that happen? And then the number of times I went there and just stood there and just like, how do I trigger this? Like, do I have to boost downwards? Do I have to jump? Do I have to? And then it's like, oh wait, I'm only being teleported when this fucking sand column is passing over me.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but
it's
okay, now I know how to trigger this thing,
Yeah. But I mean,
and just like smart things, like you go to Giant's Deep, and Giant's Deep is like probably my favorite planet because it's like this whole planet where the the surface is just water, but it's got a current that prevents you from sinking. It doesn't want you to go down, but it also has these cyclones on the surface that will literally propel the islands on the surface of the planet into space, and then they drop down again.
Very wild.
But
wild.
if you've been to a certain research center on another planet, you'll know that the cyclones actually spin in two different directions.
Yeah.
And if you go into one that's spinning clockwise, you'll be propelled up. But if you go one that's spinning anti-clockwise, you'll be propelled downwards
Down into the
through
water,
the current that you otherwise previously can't pass. And it's like, oh,
it's
fuck.
amazing.
Like the moment where I figured that out, like you're looking at all the cyclones, you're like, okay, they're all spinning, and then you see the one that's spinning anti-clockwise, you're like, got it. I know exactly what I need to do now. Yeah.
It's just moments like that, because even that's a good example of you know, there's a planet where, oh God, like I know I need to get to the core of this planet. I don't know how to get there. Then you stumble upon this one line of dialogue. You go, oh, it's that simple. Like, shit. Then you go have a look. Oh my God, there is a cyclone going
and it's so simple.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of my favorite things still is, so you mentioned the quantum moon earlier, and this is this moon that obviously moves around, and it's only there when you perceive it. So it becomes a thing of you realize after reading one or two lines of dialogue, I need to take a photo of this in order to land on it. But you land on it, and it's like, cool, I'm here, but I don't know what to do from here. But throughout the game, you know that there are 3 quantum rules, which you learn about in different places. You know there's 3, and it's just in very specific places. So here's rule 1, here's rule 2. So it's funny because I learned all 3 rules at, let's call it like the 10, 15 hour mark. And I always had them in the back of my mind. And it was like, okay, I know that, you know, I need to perceive a thing. I know if I'm in complete darkness, like I'll travel with the thing as long as I'm standing on it, but I don't know how to use this. And then I was on a completely different planet following a whole completely different breadcrumb. And then it just hit me. I was like, oh my God, can I close the door on that tower on the planet? And I promise you, when I did that, it's like this.
You watch the map inside there move. Yeah,
but
you're moving.
But
and you're like,
this feeling of excitement of like, I'm actually figuring this out. Like I'm exploring now, and it's the thing of like, I solved it. I know how to travel on this thing. But then even that's not the full puzzle, because it's like, oh, I know how to move this tower, but
now what?
Do I get it to the North Pole or the South Pole, which is where I need to get it? Then it's another puzzle in itself of like, oh, I need to be on a different planet so I can move out to get the it's so clever. Like, honest to God, when I rolled credits on this game, I don't know, I haven't stopped thinking about it.
And it doesn't stop. Like it's to the very last point of the game where it's still teaching you things. Like, I remember right at the end, you're meant to gather all the instruments for all the people at the fireplace, and the one I could not figure out for the longest time was like I think it's the harmonica that's orbiting those like red lights, and every time you walk towards them, they go dark, and you just like get respawned back. I was like, what the fuck? How? And it's like, no, you got to zoom in with your signal scope. I was like, I totally forgot I could even do that. Like, completely
amazing.
It's the number of like small little things, what it does with so few mechanics, in terms of like puzzle design, it's really something. And like you said, it's these small breadcrumbs that you need to, you know, every piece of dialogue is important. And not like in the way that, oh, if you miss one line, you're going to be stuck for hours on end. I never felt frustrated by this game, because I always felt like there was a thread to follow. Like, if I'm like, okay, cool, I cannot figure out how to get to this place. Like the Quantum Tower on Brittle Hollow, which is...
Oh my God. I solved that so late.
To be honest, like, Brittle Hollow is probably the first planet most people go to, and it's probably the worst planet in the game, I think, because it is uber frustrating.
Very challenging. Yeah, there's a lot to learn there.
I've spoken to a bunch of people who bounced off the game just from that planet, and I get it. Like, I just don't like that planet. But like the Quantum Tower there, you're like, the number of hours I spent at the beginning being like, there must be something I'm missing. Like, I'm not getting how to, and it's like you said, only way later in the game you figure out how to get to the top of that tower, and you're like, oh, I just didn't have the knowledge, or like I didn't understand this universe enough to get what I needed to do here, you know.
I mean, that is a good example, because that is the one thing on my computer, which just remained a question mark. Like I knew the quantum tower was there from, very early in the game, but just had no idea how to get to the top of it. And I mean, every time I visited Brittle Hollow, I'd pause there, be like, maybe I've learned something. I can get inside here. No, I can't. I'll come back some other time. Until most of my computer's mind map was like filled out, and I was like, I need to get to this tower. Like I'm just gonna go there and figure out how to get there. Like I'm not doing anything else. And it's funny because you could be there by accident and figure out, but I had it about a few minutes into it. I was like, hang on, Brittle Hollow breaks up. What if this tower falls into the black hole? I'm just going to wait for this loop. I'm just going to stand here. And without fail, that's what it is. It's you have to wait for the tower to break off, fall into the black hole of space so there's no gravity for you to get to the top. Then you can get to the top. Yeah. And again, that's like mind blown. Like what a simple solution. That's all I had to do. Yeah, it's great.
It's so good. And on top of it, like you don't need to pursue all the threads. It's kind of remarkable. I think you said like the quantum moon is spoken about so often in this game, and it seems like the end goal, and then it ends up being a complete side thing.
Completely optional. Which
you get a lot of good story stuff from there because of the person you meet there, but you don't need it to finish the game.
No, but it was funny because that was one of the final threads on my mind map as well. It's like, okay, the quantum moon and this other big question mark. So I get to the quantum moon when I have that brainwave of like, oh my God, I can put the lights off in the tower. I figured out how to get to the North Pole. I'm there. I meet this person. I have lots of talks with them. And I'm like, but they didn't tell me what the next step was. There wasn't a clue here.
I was like, I've got to jump into the eye.
Yeah, which you do that. That's not what you're meant to do. But then I rolled credits. I was like, that was just a completely separate optional thing that I figured out. Like, I didn't have to do that. It's not story critical.
I almost can't believe that because it's like the conversation you have with the character on that moon is like one of the most incredible like parts of the game. Just like it's like because this race that came before you, they observed you like evolving from bacteria to like the race that you are now. So it's like almost like meeting your gods.
Yeah.
And it's just such a fascinating conversation. It's really, really thought-provoking. Like you learn about how the technology they created just sends memories back in time using a like trick they found with white and black holes. So there's this interesting exchange where it's like, are you actually coming back alive, or your memories are being shot back to a previous version of yourself? So is that still you?
Yeah.
Or is it another you? The you that you think you are, you've died. But if you had the knowledge previously, would you have died now? Like, it's a real mindfuck of like, what does it mean to be alive? In a space where time can be like messed with in this way. It's so good.
It's crazy.
I just want to give a shout out to actually I think the way that other race speak, I think is super cool. Like, so all of their writing is done in like little like circles,
spirals,
and then conversations branch off of there. So you can like, a conversation almost doesn't seem linear. It's like dependent on which branch you follow. And I just think it's such a clever,
it's very clever,
clever way for like writing to work in a very alien but very understandable way. And my favorite part is the children's writing, you can see, is a lot rougher than the adults one, and you can immediately tell, oh, this is a child. Like, it's super cool. And then when I saw how they actually produced that writing, I was like, oh, that's cool. Clever. Yeah.
It's a good time.
What a game.
Outer Wilds, I'm really glad I made the time to play it. And that's like, it's a difficult thing because I think of, what are my top 10 favorite games of all time? And, that list is constantly changing. On a day I feel like, oh, this is my favorite game. Outer Wilds is definitely up there somewhere. Like one of my favorite games of all time. It's
just, there's nothing else like it.
And there's nothing like it, no game has made me feel like that. And if it hasn't been for a very, very long time. That just sense of discovery and awe, and I can't stress enough the number of times where I like literally exhaled or gasped, like, oh my God, like I can't believe I figured this out.
I had a great time, like just like experiencing it with you again, because the
every
number of
time I
times you
message you.
messaged me, you're like, oh my God, I figured this out. And I was like, I remember that dopamine hit. That was good. Yeah.
What a time. Yeah,
And I
what a
even
game.
had those again. Like I remembered the rules and whatever, but I made a conscious effort to like investigate every area completely. And I found things that I didn't remember. Like I told you, I was like, oh, I died in a way I didn't realize I could, because I just never did it the first time.
Yeah.
And I've read up on some of the endings, and I'm like, wow, there are a lot more like non-canonical endings that you could do that I've never done.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And some of them are so ridiculously complex to like trigger. And turns out you actually triggered one of those complex ones by complete accident.
Complete chance, yeah. I was like,
which is hilarious.
Yeah. You told me like this can happen. I'm like, oh, that happened to me. But
it's like, what? How?
Promise
How
you,
did
like,
you do that?
Complete chance. Like it was just, I was very lucky.
I'm so curious about the DLC for this game, because the ending is very, to me, very finite. It's an acceptance that this universe is dying, and it even fast forwards like billions of years, and it's like life continues. Like the whole ending of the game is like you are experiencing another Big Bang, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder what this DLC is going to be, because this isn't a game about like heroes and stopping the inevitable. It's just accepting the inevitable.
I'm pretty sure it's a prequel. But I mean, maybe it isn't, but I'm pretty sure it's a prequel about the Namai, and maybe the first time the interloper enters the galaxy, or you maybe figure out like, oh shit, the universe is gonna die. How do we safeguard? Which there are some texts
maybe them going through like building the Sun Station and the Ashtone project.
Yeah,
that'd be super fascinating, I think.
So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what other puzzles or aha moments they introduce now that we know the universe. Like it's kind of funny, because if it is a prequel, I'm going in with the knowledge of these are the rules of the universe.
That's what I'm most curious about, because it's like, surely there have to be new rules that they're going to teach you, because otherwise, well, yes and no. Like if you know the rules, maybe they can make things a bit more complex from the get-go. They're like, cool, you understand how this works. Let's see how well do you actually understand it.
Yeah. You never know.
I never expected this game to get DLC, so the fact that we're getting it, I mean, they were very explicit, like this is the game's only DLC.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you can even make a sequel to this, because it just won't have the same effect.
No.
I'm super curious to see what the studio does next.
Yep.
Because this is their first game, I think, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, so yeah, what a game.
Yeah.
What a game.
Outer Wilds. If you've listened to this, we're sorry we spoiled the whole game for you. But
yeah, I mean, you can probably still go play it and have
aha moments.
Yeah, you can definitely have those aha moments, because even, like I said, I played it again, and knowing some of the things, I still had these moments. I was like, oh shit, yes, I forgot about that. That was great. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's a fantastic game. Would recommend.
We have spoken very long about games.
Would you want to bounce to game releases and then fly through news?
Yeah, let's get through the stuff quickly. So, game releases.
Looking at game releases from today, August 28th, up until, oh my God, we're in September next week. September 3rd. My goodness. My. Okay, so we've got a bunch of games coming out on August 31st, and then a bunch coming out. Actually quite a bit. Okay, let's get through this. We've got Rustler coming to basically all platforms, August 31st. We've got Kiwi, which is cool. It's like a puzzle game with kiwi birds. I just love that name. I think it's really good. Coming to all platforms. Monster Harvest. Coming to all platforms on August 31st. The Big Con, which, if I'm not mistaken, is partly developed by a South African game developer.
Oh.
The Big Con. No, I'm thinking of something else. Never mind. It's not this game. This actually looks kind of cool. That's also coming out August 31st. September 1st, Cookie Clicker is coming to PC.
Nice.
I mean, you can play it in your browser right now, but it's coming to Steam.
It's coming actual release.
actual release on Steam. I like Cookie Clicker. I played a lot of that
It's a good time.
once upon a time. Rogue Spirit coming Steam Early Access PC September 1st. Lake, a game I'm actually quite keen on. PC and Xbox Series. I think it's also on Game Pass September 1st. This is an old game, which I don't know if you've played, but El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron. It's it's a weird ass game, but it's got a fucking great art style. Like
Nice.
it's ridiculous that it took over a decade almost to come to PC, but it's come to PC on September 2nd. It's good. Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, coming to PC September 2nd as well. WRC 10, that's Rally, I think.
Vroom vroom.
September 2nd. Rico London. Is that a VR? No, it can't be a VR game because it's on Switch. So that's coming to all platforms September 2nd as well. Surgeon Simulator Access All Areas, which I think is like the complete edition of Surgeon Simulator 2, September 2nd on Steam, Xbox, and Xbox Series, also on Game Pass.
Damn.
Golf Club Wasteland, September 3rd on all platforms. Kitaria Fables, September 3rd on all platforms. That's cool.
That's it. Sonic
Guess what?
Colors.
We're in September, so that means Kenna.
That's right around the corner.
Is that month? Got Death Stranding Director's Cut.
My God.
Deathloop.
All the good things.
It's popping off now. We're in the business end.
My God, of the year. Well, speaking of all these game releases, shall we get to game news where there are a shit ton of things from Gamescom. Gamescom 2021 happened this year, and let me tell you, I missed the actual live stream. I wasn't watching because I'm like Gamescom is fine, but there's never usually. I mean, it's not quite an E3. You know, there's some surprises, but I'm kind of sad I did because it seems like this year's showcase was packed with some real heavy hitters. But yeah, we'll fly through them quickly.
It was a pretty great show. The what's it called? One Not Live? Jeff Keighley's thing? Opening Not Live. There we go. Opening Not Live. Yeah, it was great. I thought it was I mean, there was actually an Xbox conference this week as well, but it was so like non-eventful that I don't even think we remembered it. But yeah, let's fly through some of the big announcements. Getting a new Saints Row. Yeah, it's like a reboot of sorts. Says it will feature new characters in a new city called Santo Ileso. Yeah. It's just called Saints Row. So yeah, it looks wacky and ridiculous. So it looks like a Saints Row.
Unlike Saints Row 3 and 4, it seems more, roots.
Grounded. Yeah, not superpowers.
No.
So yeah, that's also coming soon, February 25th, 2022.
Yeah, it's around the corner. With alongside another game, which was got a Feb date, which we'll get to soon enough.
Yeah, Marvel's Midnight Suns. Made by Firaxis, the makers of XCOM, the turn-based XCOM. This is described as a tactical RPG, so not really like XCOM.
Yeah.
When they say that, I think of things like Ultimate Alliance almost.
Yeah.
But maybe that's more action RPG. I don't know.
I know. So there's no gameplay on this.
No gameplay yet. There's some written previews, but there's no gameplay. But like, wow, you get a lot of like heroes in this trailer with some very interesting like designs on them. So got to see, staples like Captain America and Iron Man. Got Ghost Rider. There's Blade. Doctor Strange. It's a cool cast of characters.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but no actual gameplay. I think gameplay is coming 1st of September, if I'm not mistaken. I think they said
you're right. Gameplay reveal 1st of September, which is this coming week. So yeah, that's cool. That launches in March.
Yeah.
So that's also not far away.
Nope.
Then we got a very, very, very long gameplay demo of Call of Duty Vanguard. I thought it was very boring, to be entirely honest.
Just pew-pew.
Yeah, it was very cinematic and like, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem surprising anymore.
No. Look, I like the single player Call of Duty stuff, but I don't know.
And like there's a lot of good writers on this year's campaign. So like I'm keen to give it a go. But there was nothing there that popped out of me that I was like, damn, that looks fucking great. It just looks like
Call of Duty.
So.
This
Halo
is surprising.
Got a release date.
Given that Xbox had a conference the day before, but they held
literally
out
the day before and had
saved,
no Halo. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think somebody said that they played nice with Jeff in the sense that he obviously wants to put together an all-inclusive show that features something from everyone. So I think it's very big of them to save their, like, let's call a spade, like their console's most recognizable game, for not their show, for Jeff's show. So yeah, Halo Infinite's
that is
release
cool.
date.
8th of December. So that's a good
right around the corner.
Month out of Call of Duty's wake. So I think that's smart. Yeah, it's cool. It's obviously the multiplayer and the campaign. They also revealed a Xbox Elite controller that's styled after Halo.
Master Chief, yeah. And
then a new Xbox Series X.
Series X.
Which actually looks really nice. I think that
I
that
quite
console
like
looks
it.
real hot.
And I'm quite keen to see what other, that's their first like official
limited edition
console.
I think it looks real nice.
Xbox are real good at doing fun, different things. Like their controllers are a testament. They always have new controllers coming out, and
that Forza Horizon controller. Oh my lord, it looks good. Got an announcement trailer for a game which I thought looked really cool called Cult of Lamb. You play as a possessed lamb who has to repay the mysterious stranger who saved you from annihilation by developing a following in their name. It reminds me a lot of Don't Starve in its gameplay.
Maybe
like
the game. The actual movement and the point of view.
Yeah, it's like a 2D sprite in a 3D world type of thing.
The animation is real good. I mean, look at this. There's like a bit of combat. It's so smooth and it just looks good. It looks
so good.
Man. Yeah, I'm keen.
See what I mean by like Don't Starve. Yeah.
What's interesting though. It's like it looks that it seems to have these elements of it's very action combat focused, but then it's like you also build a base and you get followers and you do all these other side things, which I'm quite curious to see how that plays out.
Probably like followers who give you powers. Probably, I assume.
Probably.
It's some real cutesy, creepy shit though. I love it. Yeah. And then it's got a great look. That's out early 2022. Ooh, this looked good as well.
This looks great. Yeah.
Midnight Fight Express. Looks like a sort of like isometric brawler, developed by a single man in Poland. It looks fucking great. Yeah.
The combat in this game looks insane. It's just so stylistic and very action heavy.
It's coming out summer 2022, so that's like winter here. It looks great. I'm keen to give this a go.
Yeah. Keen to give it a bash, pun intended.
Got another look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which is the classic beat 'em up made by Dotemu. And they revealed April O'Neil as a 5th playable character. I like how she does a little like actual mic drop as a move.
Oh yeah.
Like she hits someone at the mic and she's like, poof.
It's great.
This game's art looks incredible.
It's very, very much in line with the the old school cartoon. My God, I need to get this YouTube Premium, so I'll stop getting these ads.
Got to expense it.
They won't get my money. Let's just buy some Vicks. No,
I love Vicks.
I wanted to quickly show some gameplay here. It's very much. Let me just skip past old Jeff here. It's like
those
old
chunky
retro
pixel sprites.
Yeah, it looks good though.
Oh, it looks so good. Looks real good.
There's
look at the mic drop. So good.
Great.
Super Monkey Ball Mania got a new trailer where they revealed Morgana from Persona 5 is coming as a DLC character. So that's cool. Splitgate. Which I actually wanted to talk about, but I'll talk about it next week. The Halo X Portal shooter that's it's in beta right now.
Mhm.
It's fucking great. Firstly, I played a lot of it last weekend and I absolutely love it. But season 0 is kicked off because it's in beta, so it's like season 0 of their battle pass.
Mhm.
What the fuck does beta mean nowadays? Who knows? But that's
Who
out now.
knows? Yeah.
Speaking of betas, Riders Republic is in open beta right now. That's the sort of like extreme sports game from Ubisoft.
Only until
so yeah.
August 28th. So by the time you listen to this, it's done. Sorry.
So that's today.
Sorry
Rip.
for you.
Sentry Age of Ashes is a free-to-play dragon flying PvP game.
Oh wow.
That's all I
missed
got.
this.
That's out in
Nice.
November.
UFL
UFL, this was interesting. It's
came out of
a
nowhere.
new football game.
Yeah.
So not PES, not FIFA. This is a brand new game from a developer called Strikers Inc. All they say is that it will be free to play and also fair to play, where only your skills matter. Interesting. Man, this game. So Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga is like all 9 films in one Lego game.
My goodness.
It was playable at E3 2019 and was meant to launch that year. It is now only coming in spring 2022. That is like...
That's so far.
Still far away. So this game must have gone through some shit. Like, things must have happened. But it looks far more involved than a typical Lego game.
The traditional Lego game.
Yeah, like you can see the lightsaber fights look proper climatic, and the shooting looks more like third-person shooting now.
It looks like a lot of fun.
It looks good. It also looks quite beautiful, I think.
Look how shiny these Lego blocks are.
Yeah, it's weird that they talk proper English now.
Oh, do they?
Like they're not. Because in the past Lego games, they're just like it's almost like Simglish. You know what I mean? It's
Simglish.
It looks good though. Look
at this cover-based shooting. Nice.
With the typical Star Wars humor, obviously. So that's out next year. Then we got Synced Off Planet, which is apparently a third-person PvPvE game.
Sure. A lot going
Nano
on
machines. That's all there was there.
Mm-hmm.
Outlaws Trials, a co-op survival horror in the Outlaws universe. You can miss me with that shit.
Are we playing this multiplayer? What?
Fuck no. Fuck no. That's out in 2022. Oh my god, this game.
This game. This is the one I'm thinking of. Hang on, let me just pull up this trailer here.
This trailer was so out of nowhere and so left field, but it got people talking because it looks like children GTA. It's like beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong, but what is this game?
But it goes. You go on a journey. So if you don't know, go look up this trailer. Dokev, Dokev. Just look up the Gamescom trailer. It looks like you just navigating an open world as a kid. You're doing your thing, but you hard cut a few like a minute or so. You're now fighting a giant robot something.
Looks
you're now riding
like
a llama.
Monster Hunter. Like
you're flying a kite. Hang on, I'm still skipping. You are skating. You're now dancing.
Is that dancing? I don't know what is going on there. That looks like Monster Hunter. It's like big weapons, big monster. Now it's like a third-person shooter. Now, man, there's a lot going on in this trailer.
There's some shit going on here.
There's a lot going on in like, what is this trailer, like 4 minutes? Yeah. It's bizarre, but I want to know more.
It looks really pretty.
It does.
I can say that without a doubt. It looks super... There's like... It's an interesting combination of it's very cartoony, yet in a very realistic world. I could say that. I don't know.
Just kick that bomb like a soccer ball. It's a great time.
What is this
Got
game?
A gun that looks like a shark.
It's Ghostbusters now. You're busy.
Now it's Ghostbusters. Yeah. Don't cross the streams.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm keen to see more of this game.
I really want to know more about this weird fucking thing. So yeah. Jurassic World Evolution 2 coming out on November 9th. Got good old Jeff Goldblum to chat in that trailer. So if you want to hear his sultry tones,
Nice.
Far Cry 6. I keep forgetting this game's coming out. It's out on October 7th, so that's like not far away. Another story trailer.
Mm-hmm. We have enough trailers of Far Cry now. I'm like,
let the
game come out. It's fine.
Yeah.
Vampire. This game, I never know what's going on with this game. I feel like I keep hearing about it, but it's not out. Vampire the Masquerade.
Well, there's so many different ones. That's
Okay,
probably
so
why.
I'm not mad, right? There is a bunch
because
of them.
there's Vampire the Masquerade 2 Bloodlines, which is the actual like sequel to the RPG, which was meant to be out December last year and has just like disappeared off the face of the earth. This is now a free-to-play battle royale in the Vampire the Masquerade universe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So that's going in early access on September 7th. But
Yep.
yeah.
That's quite soon.
Park Beyond. A
from
park simulation game from the folks behind
Tropico
the
peeps.
Tropico games.
Nice.
That's cool. These have never been my sort of games, but I know people love them. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Jet the Far Shore. This is another
Hell
game. I
yeah.
feel like I'm very keen for this game, but I keep seeing trailers. I'm like, just enough. Just release the game.
It looks weird, and I want to know more. It reminds me a lot of No Man's Sky, but it's also made behind the folks who did Super Brothers. So that game was awesome. So yeah, that's out on October 5th on PlayStation in the Epic Games Store, I think.
Yeah. So I thought this was quite surprising that we got an actual release date for Horizon Forbidden West coming February 18th. So those first 3 months of 2021 really looking
packed,
real stacked. My God.
So
Elden
I guess
Ring, January, Horizon in Feb. Sure.
I guess that rumor of it being pushed to 2022 was correct,
Real.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very slight delay. I mean, it's coming in February of 2022, so it seemed likely. So yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Along with that, they announced a patch for Forbidden for Zero Dawn. So it's now running at 60 frames on PS5. I did jump into it just to check it out. Very nice.
Very pretty. Nice.
Also reminded me how slow the opening hours of that game are. Wow. They are real slow. Wow.
New World open beta dates.
This is the Amazon.
I think it's the Amazon game, yeah.
Amazon MMO, yeah. Cool.
Nice.
Jumanji.
A digital board game. Nice.
The Cursed Returns is a digital board game based on the Cursed jungle game by Marmalade Game Studio. Cool.
Marmalade. This game.
Try to say this game name.
I think, don't you find it funny that the Dead Mouse was 100% trolling?
Yes.
He's
straight
like,
up trolling.
It's Dead Mouse 5, and then late in the trailer, like a Dead Mouse. I'm like,
yeah, he's not. He was straight up trolling. Straight up trolling.
So I mean, I
do like that in this article they've said Dead Mouse twice in two sentences, but spelt it differently in both.
Amazing. So I don't know what this game is, but yeah, it's coming. It's a persistent
I can't even
fan
say
hub and concert space.
Huzzle or whatever the fuck it's called. It's got numbers in it.
Yeah.
Fall Guys is getting Jungle Book skins. You know, when I first saw this, I thought, oh man, it's Frosty's the Tiger. I didn't think it was Shere Khan from Jungle Book.
Tony the Tiger, Frosty.
Is it Tony?
Tony the Tiger. Get out
I thought
of
it was
here.
just Frosty's the Tiger. You know,
no,
Frosty's.
Frosty's the cereal. Led by Tony the Tiger.
Let me tell you something. Tony the Tiger would never be that jacked if he ate Frosties.
No, you'd have a boop because of all the sugar that's packed into Frosties.
It's delicious.
Tasty. Replaced. My God, there were actually a lot of games shown in this hour and a half.
This game was that one that we saw earlier this year. It almost looked like that Symphony of the Night type fucking weird 2D thing.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So yeah, that's it's just a new trailer.
Yeah, there you go. I see
no release date or whatever. So yeah.
Bam. Okay.
Age of Empires 4.
Wololo.
That's about it. They just showed
cool.
Age of Empires 4. I know in the Xbox conference they spoke a lot about trebuchets. So
nice.
Cool.
Valheim getting a Hearth and Home update
on September 16th,
which is pretty soon. So if you like Valheim, you got some home building to do or home wrecking, depending on how many people you want to fight.
Aloy is joining Genshin Impact.
This is one game I need to try at some point in my life just to know what it is and how it works. Because I know it's basically gacha Breath of the Wild.
It's fun. I jump in every now and then, especially now that there's cross save between the PlayStation and the mobile phone version, because that wasn't there till I think a few months ago. It's fun. It's like I haven't like gotten into it like other people have, but I think it's cute and fun, and yeah it's cool.
Nice.
Sifu got a release date. This is another like 3D brawler, but this is from the developers of Absolver. Yeah, Absolver. This game looks fucking great.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. And the fact that it's coming on February 22nd is like
yes,
soon.
this game.
Oh, this game looks like a proper awesome like fighting game. Fighting brawler.
Beat the shit out of people.
Yo, looks super good. So can't wait for that.
Oh, this is a game where every time you die, you get older.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. We're on the same page now.
Then the show ended with a very long trailer of Death Stranding Director's Cut. Got to see Sam Porter Bridges have new tools like a cargo catapult, boost stabilizers, a jetpack, a motorcycle, jump ramps, and more. You can also get a piggyback from your buddy bot.
How nice. Very keen to see how this game
It looks
works
ridiculous, this director's cut, but I will jump back in just for the DualSense.
Yeah, I just want to see how it feels, and then I'm done. I don't think I'll replay the game. I had a great time with it, but I don't see myself sitting through the whole thing again. But yeah, that's look, there was a lot of other stuff out of Gamescom, but I suppose this is the bread and butter, the main showcase with all these good games. So that's really what news was about this week, and there's like literally 2 other bits and pieces which we'll touch on. So Metroid Dread, which is out in October, I think. Yes. It just got a new trailer featuring a classic villain. I only included this because I love a good friend Darren Bonethigh's he had a line here: Metroid Dread's latest trailer has Chozo to go with violence. And turns out the villain's name, I presume, is Chozo.
Why does GameSpot keep hiring this man?
Why do they keep paying this
him
guy
for these fucking terrible puns?
So I'm very, very excited for this game.
I do love that Darren in the GameSpot Slack has fully embraced his nonsense puns, and people like 100% understand. That's his bullshit now. It's very funny to watch.
Nice.
Like, it's very funny to watch people discover the Darren we know.
That we know and love.
It's fucking hilarious, and I love it. It makes me all warm and fuzzy inside.
Nice.
Knowing that other people have to be subjected to his fucking bullshit.
To his nonsense.
But I love it.
Yeah, this game looks good. Very keen to, get to it.
This game looks fucking rad.
Goddamn.
Yeah, I'm very keen for this game.
A Nintendo made Metroidvania. An actual Metroid, I mean,
it just looks visually, it looks fucking
it's
like
beautiful.
Samus's suit. I love the white and the blue, and it looks so good.
It's too good.
Yeah. I'm keen. Like, when people were putting out previews for the Switch OLED, and they were like, man, this game really shows the difference. I was like, shit.
Stay away.
Yeah. I don't need one, but shit.
I don't need one, but I want one. And the last piece of news, because we are really long in the tooth here, in a move that does not surprise me at all, but has pissed off a lot of people for God knows what reason, Blizzard will rename Overwatch's McCree amid the lawsuit fallout. So that fell, I think, last week as an exception. Every week since this lawsuit came out, there's been some news, surrounding the garbage going on at Blizzard.
Keep it in the news.
And we've mentioned before, Jesse McCree, Overwatch character, was actually named after one of the employees who has since vanished from Blizzard, I suppose, dismissed or whatever.
One of the folks in that Cosby Suite debacle. So, yeah.
So they haven't actually said what McCree's new name will be, but there is a law update or something planned for the near future, which is where I presume they will, reveal a something.
They've also said that they will not name new characters after real people, which seems like a fucking good move. Considering,
yeah,
keep things fictional. Tying them to real people, you're just setting yourself
just
up
asking for trouble. Yeah. That's it's interesting. I am quite curious to see to what extent they do it, because I mean, That means re-recording voice lines, going back and amending things like comic books. Do they amend cinematics where he's actually called McCree? I don't know to what extent they do this change, or do they just they archive that it is what it is, and moving forward, this character is now called this, whatever. I don't know. We'll have to see.
What I love is some people's proposed names. Like they should call him a 6-shooter McShooty Shoot, and I'm like, yes, do that, please.
Just call him High Noon. It's so
High
easy.
Noon Man.
It's there. High Noon. Like he's got an actual name, but just refer to him as.
Then
High
you don't
Noon.
even have to take out that the voice line. Yeah, it's High Noon.
No, it's the same. Hi, I'm High Noon, and it's High Noon. See,
done.
It works.
Ship it.
But yeah, that's really all the news there was this week. Gamescom bringing in some nice heavy hitters and some little bits and pieces to carry us through to the busy month of September. So lots coming up, I'm sure, for the end of the year.
Should we move on to questions?
Yes. Ooh, I had the wrong scene there.
If you want to send us questions, you can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also message us at checkpointchat on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on OnlyFans now. They're allowing not safe for work content again, so it's great.
So that whole debacle still makes me laugh. Cool. We've got a couple of questions from Migs over on Twitter. Let's start with number 1. Is Matthew still a 5-star fam, or did he find a new love?
Nope.
I'm very
Matthew
much.
still loves diabetes in chocolate.
I love diabetes in chocolate form. I love 5-star. I'm not as big an advocate as I was, not for any reason other than I'm just being less vocal about it, but I do still love them. I still eat some every now and then. I
still find them way too sweet. They're so sweet.
My latest love is from Woolies. You get these packets of, they're not wine gums, they're just these fruit-shaped sweets.
They're like the soft fruit chews.
They're so nice.
Those are fucking good. I'm
they
a
are
huge fan
real
of those
good.
as well.
Yeah, I'm going to start advocating for that. Just Woolies rip-off soft gums, whatever they're
those
called.
Those soft fruit chews. I prefer those to wine gums because they're just they're actually chewable.
Wine gums. Wine gums, look, I love them, but you sit and you chew for an hour. Just delicious.
They're real. Can I tell you, Woolworths Chuckles, A+ chocolate, top tier.
When they're on special, which happens every now and then, you're just like, let me just stock up here. Oh, you need to buy 3 packets for 30%.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah, I'll do that.
Guess
They have to be the big ones as well.
Shit, okay.
Shit. No, Shani loves them. They are like one of her favorite chocolates. They are real good. But only the red packet, the original honeycomb one,
Oh yeah, the red packet. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because you get ones with like raisins and what is the other one? I think it's toffee in the middle, which is just too much. What color packet is that? I think it's orange. Orange, I think. Yeah, that's the toffee one.
No idea.
Then the yellow one's peanuts. Yeah, red's the way to go.
Yeah. And just last question, have you ever done a double take when you hear the opening music of a podcast you hear every week from an unlikely company? So for example, the opening ending music of the Nextlander podcast is often used in the Specsavers YouTube adverts. So,
really?
That's I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but working on Xbox stuff, like we often have to source and put music with some video assets we create. And like when I QA, so we roll them out for several markets, which means, when I QA something, it's literally watching the same video over and over again in different languages just to make sure like there's no errors or anything. So you get those tunes stuck in your head. So I immediately pick it up if it's like on a YouTube video or something. And I've had it before. I'm like, oh, that's the video from this Xbox Game Pass promo video we do, which is now being used to promote like toothpaste. So it's like we obviously sourcing from a big library, but there's something that's drawing us to the same sort of sound, like very upbeat or energetic, whatever. And it is. I do a double take. I'm like, hang on, I recognize this. I'm like, it's from.
I know where this is from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funnily enough, I've heard our outro tune before on videos, actually on GameSpot, some older ones, because they all come from the Audio Network, which is like
Audio Network, yeah.
Yeah, it's not free, but you pay for licensed music and then you can use it. So like the odds of you coming up against that is fairly
It's very
easy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know easy because there's like a lot of music on there, but I loaded up an old video. I think it was like some top 10 list or something of GameSpot, like 1 or 2 years old, and it's literally our outro music. I was like, oh,
Amazing.
I've heard that before.
Like,
yeah,
they robbed us.
it's yeah. I know Giant Bomb uses them a lot for their ad segments, and I've never heard that somewhere else. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked that like podcasts use or they come from the same audio network and advertisers use the same ones. So there'll be some collisions there.
Some
But that's
overlaps
funny.
there.
I actually didn't know the Next Lander one was in a Specsavers ad. That's funny.
Goddamn. Yeah, that's it. We quick questions because we are nearly at the 2-hour mark. We spoke a long time about time looping things and samurai sword shenanigans. So
Can almost say this podcast is a time loop. Every Saturday we repeat it.
If you rewind and go back to the beginning, you now know what's coming. You can prepare for the knowledge we're going to hit you with. So,
and if you try flush your dessert down the toilet, the podcast will change.
It'll change. It might come back.
Oh, there's our podcast
way.
title, Toilet Desserts. Hell yeah. Good luck finding a picture for that.
Why?
I live to make your job harder.
Except that I no longer source images relating to the image. So it's fine.
I know.
To the title.
Fucking copped out. Fucking copped out.
That's episode 158. Good 1 hour 51.
Damn, we're 7 minutes from going full circle there.
We 12 minutes too far.
12 minutes too far.
Just end the episode. I'm done.
But yeah, it's been a good episode. If you've hung out with us this whole way, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time on the Checkpoint Chat podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
Cool.
See you.
Goodbye.
Bye.